America. I want to talk to you tonight. I had a choice to make yesterday coming to you, trying to find a policeman to help with what came to us over the weekend. And I realized we're darn near out of policemen. I don't really necessarily trust Eric Holder. I don't trust the administration. I don't trust Congress. I don't know who to bring this to except you. That's why I'm bringing this to you tonight. I'm going to play some audio for you in a moment that we broke this morning on my radio program and my website. It is a recording of a speech given over the weekend at Pace University. It was given by a prominent labor leader, and it was given to a very select group of other prominent labor, progressive, and community leaders. I believe what you are about to hear is nothing short of a plan to commit economic terrorism. Now, I want to define that. Economic terrorism, set forth by the blessed Geneva Center for Security Policy. It is this: varied, coordinated, and sophisticated or massive destabilizing actions in order to disrupt the economic and financial stability of a state, a group of states, or a society, such as market-oriented Western societies, for ideological or religious motives. Got it? That's how the Globe defines economic terrorism. Now, has there been any case of domestic economic terrorism? Yes, believe it or not. Surprisingly, the closest case we have to it happened just recently. In fact, the jury decided last Friday. They judged against Bernard von Nothaus. He is 67 years old. He was convicted by a federal jury of, quote, conspiracy under the United States and faces a prison sentence of 15 years. Now, what did he do? Well, he made coins. He made these. They're Liberty dollars. They look like U.S. dollars, don't they? Well, I actually interviewed this guy when I was on the other network. And I remember talking to him, and I thought, okay, I kind of agree with you on the Fed thing, but what you're doing here kind of sounds illegal. He swore he was doing nothing wrong. Well, in the end, it looks like I was right. He was just convicted Friday of making coins that resemble our United States coins, possessing them, and trying to use them as currency. He had over 7 million in Liberty dollars in circulation. Well, this guy was misguided. But he wasn't trying to bring down the United States, at least from what he told me. He believed the Fed was destroying the dollar. And really? That's a hard stretch, isn't it? You, by the way, have to watch this show on Friday because there is some truth to that. The unbelievable history of the Fed. The, what is it? The monster? Is it called the monster? The creature of Jekyll Island. We will give you the truth and none of the crazy conspiracy theories on the Fed Friday at 5. Anyway, this guy was creating what the government said was currency, and he said it was going to help. No. Good idea? No, no. But his goal was not the destruction of the U.S. dollar. Now, listen to the U.S. attorney prosecuting the case. This is, remember, from Eric Holder's DOJ. Quote, attempts to undermine the legitimate currency of this country are simply a unique form of domestic terrorism. But she went a step further. She also said, while these forms of anti-government activities do not involve violence, they are every bit as insidious and represent a clear and present danger to the economic stability of this country. You have it? Let's be clear. This is Eric Holder's DOJ. The attorneys representing the United States against the coin guy in North Carolina last Friday, they convicted him. They believe attacks affecting the economic stability of America are akin to domestic terrorism and a clear and present danger to the economic stability of this country. You have it? Every bit as insidious as violent attacks on the country. So we know there's zero tolerance with the DOJ. And the coin guy is facing 15 years in prison. Remember what we're talking about. A guy who most people have never even heard of. He has certainly never graced the White House. And come on, really? You think he has a chance to actually collapse the monetary system? Really? Okay. Zero tolerance. Again, unique form of domestic terrorism, every bit as insidious and a clear and present danger to the economic stability of this country. So that's how we define, under Eric Holder's DOJ, domestic economic terrorism in this country. Now let me play the audio for you. Again, I believe nothing short of people planning an economic terrorist attack on our country this May. And we just heard from the U.S. Attorney what he believes it is. The coin guy, at the very least, quote, conspiracy against America, end quote, a form of clear and present danger to the economic stability of this country. You listen to this tape and tell me if that doesn't fit this. His name, the guy you're about to hear, is Stephen Lerner. He is a former top official at SEIU who left, apparently, when Andy Stern left. Now, we can't, I have to say apparently because we can't verify this. We made no less than 6 calls to SEIU. We talked to the Media Relations Department, sent multiple emails. They will not verify if Stephen Lerner currently works at SEIU. Now, I've worked at a lot of companies. Have you guys worked at companies before? I mean, you just look in the company handbook and go, nope, he's no longer with us. It's about the simplest question we have tonight. The questions SEIU only get harder from here. He was introduced as SEIU when he spoke this weekend at the Left Forum. He was the director of SEIU's banking and finance campaign. Important to remember. He was the person on the Wall Street reform for SEIU. So he would go to the Treasury Department and meet on Wall Street reform. He is also the guy responsible for the video that we showed you here, the protest on the lawns. Do you remember when they started going to people's houses? Remember that? When SEIU rent-a-thugs stormed a bank executive's private property and trapped a young child who was home alone. He also spearheaded the Justice for Janitors campaign that have led protests all across the country. In one city, protesters entered the busiest intersections in Houston and handcuffed themselves in a circle to trash cans and dumping trash in intersections in order to disrupt traffic. Here's what he told other labor leaders this weekend. Listen to his plan. Listen carefully. Here's the plan to destroy America.
Unions are almost dead. We cannot survive doing what we do. But the simple fact of the matter is community organizations are almost dead also. And I think if you think about what we need to do, it may give us some direction, which is essentially what the folks that are in charge, you know, the big banks and everything, what they want is stability. There are actually extraordinary things that we could do right now that would start to destabilize the folks that are in power and start to rebuild their movement.
Okay. Remember, we just learned the United States government has a zero-tolerance policy for those who pose an economic threat to the economic stability of the nation. They just busted the guy printing up his own coins. Yet here he is stating in an open conference that unions are almost dead, as are community organizations, and they therefore must destabilize those in power, the banks. He's now going to outline a plan on how to collapse our government and our nation's financial system.
For example, 10% of homeowners, going back to where you started, who are a quarter of all people who own a home are underwater, right? Their home is worth, they're paying more for it than it's worth. 10% of those people are now in strategic default, meaning they're refusing to pay, but they're staying in their home. That's totally spontaneous, right? They figured out it takes a year to kick me out of my home because more foreclosures backed up. I'm going to stay, I won't pay. It's just what business does. It's a good business decision. If you could double that number, you would make banks, put banks on the edge of insolvency again. What would happen if we could organize homeowners en masse to do a mortgage structure? To say, if we get 500,000 people to agree, we'll agree we won't pay our mortgages. It would literally cause a new financial crisis for the banks, not for us. We would be doing quite well because we wouldn't be paying.
Okay. Using mass mortgage strike, and he also goes into student loans, he hopes to create a new financial crisis. Think of this. The whole reason that we did TARP And is there anybody here that thinks it was a great idea to do TARP? The whole reason we did TARP and the stimulus package and the health care bill was to bring us back from the brink. And here he is, a man who has been to the White House, who is now detailing, we haven't gotten to it yet, a plan to push our financial institutions back to the brink. So every dollar that we have given, every dollar that has been given to the government, every dollar that has been given to banks and institutions through TARP will be wasted. Now, this is not just a pie in the sky thinking, hey, maybe somebody would try that this sometime. No, no. Listen carefully, because he talks about, he's not going to give a lot of details because he's afraid there might be police in the audience. There wasn't. We might have been there. It's in the planning phase, and I believe it's deeper than that. I want you to listen to, I think uncut, it's like 25 minutes. You have to hear the entire tape at glennbeck.com. Your hair will fall out. Listen to his strategy now.
The folks that control this country care about one thing: how the stock market does, how the bond market does, and what the bonuses is. So I think we need to have a very simple strategy. How do we bring down the stock market? How do we bring down their bonuses? How do we interfere with their ability to be rich? And if we don't do, and that means you have to politically isolate them, economically isolate them, and disrupt them.
Okay, here he is beginning to conspire to bring down the stock market. But he needs a villain for the story. Well, they just picked one. Play the tape.
A bunch of us around the country think about who would be a really good company to hate. We decided that would be JP Chase, based here in New York. So what we're looking at is in the first week of May, can we get enough people together, we're starting now, to really have a week of action in New York with the goal of vote. I don't want to give any details because I don't know which police agents are in the room, but the goal would be that we would roll out of New York the first week in May.
Stephen Lerner. He is one of the most influential guys. This guy has been praised by everyone and has been around since the mid-1990s. This guy hopes to cause another financial crisis in the country, cause instability, cause a stock market crash. Lerner was also clear that this could not have the hallmark of the unions. It could not be known as a union deal because it would cause too many problems and people would know. It had to be grassroots. Listen.
Labor can't lead it. We're a critical part of it. We do have money. We have millions of members who are furious. But I don't think this kind of movement can happen unless actually community groups and other actors take the lead. And that's a big reversal of how a lot of these coalition things have been thought about. It's sort of unions helping community groups, or community groups helping us narrowly. And if we really believe that we're in a transformative stage in what's happening in capitalism, and we either need to confront it in a serious way and develop a real ability to put a boot in the wheel, then I think we have to think not about labor community alliances. We have to think about how together we're building something that really has the capacity to disrupt how the system operates.
So you hear what he said. Put a boot or a shoe into the wheel. That is the literal definition of sabotage. It is economic terrorism. The DOJ has not responded yet. Now, I want you to know that when you go and you listen to the full tape, there are going to be many Americans that say, yeah, the banks have screwed us. But this is a coordinated attack, 2 steps away from the President of the United States. And it is impossible for Richard Trumka and Andy Stern or someone in the President's inner circle to know what this man is saying and planning and not warn him. He should have been arrested. And he is being heralded. I guarantee you, the coin man goes to prison, and nothing's said about this man, except maybe he'll lose his job wherever he is and move to the Center for American Progress with Van Jones.